Hello, beautiful, and welcome to day 19 of the Love My Love Life Bootcamp. So today we're going to be discussing something that is utterly important to any relationship, but especially to intimate relationships, and that is commitment, right? So the first 2 weeks of the training, right, if you remember, the first week we went over um, personal development tools, right? Things that get us to the place where we want to be in our lives. And then in the second week of training, we went through, just kind of understanding the male mind and what he thinks and how he's processing things, just so that we had that background as we went into week 3, which is where we are now, where we're talking about how to bridge the gap, right? How do we create an amazing relationship based on what we know about ourselves, what we know about who he is and what he is, and how do we bring that all together into something absolutely beautiful, right? And so today we're going over commitment because it is so it is like one of the cornerstones of a good relationship, right? So today we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about what commitment is and why we need it, and then we're going to go over how to actually get that commitment that we want, right? So what is commitment? Well, let's look at relationships in general, right? And so, as a whole, it is important that you understand the purpose of a relationship. And the purpose of a relationship, we think relationships are these static, just kind of stagnant things that, once you find the person that you're looking for, it's all good. We can, now we can just be happily ever after. That has been our training forever and ever, right? But the real purpose of relationship is spiritual growth, right? It's an opportunity to really grow as a team. And so I love how someone says, when you're in a relationship, you have the opportunity to, share the joy and split the pain, right? So if something happens, you have your partner there that you can lean on, and that can help you can help each other get through stuff, and when it's great, you're both together and you're sharing that greatness, and that just expands the greatness. And so I think that's a beautiful way of looking at relationships, right? And so the fact that we don't understand even why we want to be in a relationship, why we should desire a relationship, is really truly one of the reasons that nearly half of marriages end in divorce, right? It's really one of the reasons why so many people, both in relationships and out, are unhappy, because they don't really understand like what the heck the purpose of a relationship is. We think it's about having kids and paying bills and having sex and going on vacations together, and it is, all of that stuff is inclusive in a relationship, right? Or can be inclusive, but that is not the reason for a relationship. That is not why we do relationships, or why we should do relationships, right? So it's important that I make that distinction for you today, because when you start to understand that, when you can really start to process that, it makes relationships become a lot more understandable. It makes them just become a lot easier to contemplate, right? And so for most people spend all of this time planning a wedding, right? They'll spend months, maybe even years, planning a wedding. I'm going to do this, and we're going to go here, and we're going to have this, and this is going to be the meal. And they spend all of this time planning a wedding and no time at all planning the marriage, right? So, I've seen people spend literally tens of thousands of dollars to have a wedding for a marriage that barely lasts a year. It's absolutely insane, right? Because we have this mistaken impression that once we get them to commit, both sides, once whether it's from the man's perspective, once I get it to commit, or from the female perspective, once I get him to say yes, to commit, to say I do, that the work is done. Everything else will just work itself out. Good luck. Okay. That's the best thing I can say. Good luck with that, right? Because what actually happens, what that actually does, that mentality, it just makes us really complacent. It makes us even almost neglectful, I would say, in a relationship, and how to really grow, right? Remember that spiritual opportunity to grow, right? And so we kind of lose out on that. So I think about commitment in relationships and intimate relationships in three phases, right? So it's your commitment to yourself, and then it's your commitment to each other, right? And then it's your commitment to the relationship, right? So let me explain what that means. So obviously, commitment to yourself. We went over a lot of that during week one when we did so much to kind of build ourselves up and understand who we are and learn how to be authentic in how we live our lives and how we show up in the world, right? And so we have that commitment to ourselves, or we should have that commitment to ourselves, where we absolutely love ourselves, and more importantly, we absolutely like ourselves. We like who we are and we like what we do. It's the most amazing feeling, right? But that commitment to each other is about understanding that you know, we are here for each other. I am here for you. You are here for me. You know, we are here to serve each other and be together. And it is a partnership, and it is an agreement. And at the end of the day, you do at some point want to have that conversation. You want to have that discussion about what actually constitutes a relationship. What does that mean to you? What does commitment mean to you? You know, which is why we really want to take our time, like I said, to get into a relationship, because you want to know the partner, you know, the person that you're going to into a partnership with. You want to know, what is their commitment background? You know, who are their parents? Who was his dad? You know, who is his role model? Who is that person that he's gonna mimic in our relationship, right? You know, who are his family? Who is his family? Who are his friends? You know, are his friends married? Are they all single and just kind of out there being crazy in the world? Who are they, right? Because a lot of times, you know, you want to know that your married, you know, your committed partner has committed friends, right? And they can be in that commitment together, because otherwise it makes it difficult, right? For him, right? Because peer pressure is a real thing, and it's not just for kids. We need to be clear on that. Peer pressure certainly affects adults all the time, right? And so at the end of the day, you want to know what his commitment blueprint is, right? And so and that lets you know, that gives you an idea of how he's coming into this relationship, right? And after you have that conversation, you know what he's looking forward to, and what kinds of things, you know, are scaring him to death, right? And so the other piece of that is, you know, you just want to be clear. You need to be clear for you, who you are and who he is when you begin to get into that commitment. And so one of the things that I'll talk to you a little bit about too is learning how to say stuff without actually having to say it, right? So when we talked about communication on day 18, right, we talked a little bit about the different forms of communication and verbal and body language and that whole deal. And you really have to, especially when you start talking about commitment, you really have to learn how to say stuff without actually having to open your mouth and verbalize it, right? It becomes like just tantamount to a great relationship, right? And so thirdly, so we talked about your commitment to yourself. We talked about your commitment to each other, right? But let me talk about the commitment to the relationship and why that is so huge, right? So most people don't understand that there has to be a commitment as well to that relationship, to that marriage, to that partnership, because truth be told, there are going to be days that you hate his stinking guts, right? You just really are just like, oh, he gets on my nerves, or vice versa. You know, he's really just kind of looking at you like, you know, oh, I just can't stand her right now. You know, and those are the days when you don't have a commitment to a relationship. Oh my goodness, those are the days when any little thing, you know, someone gives them the eye or gives you the eye or whatever the case may be, any little thing becomes the reason, the excuse. Oh, I'm so angry, or she doesn't treat me right, or she doesn't talk nice to me, or whatever the case may be. And some nice, cute little woman comes along and she's like, oh, I would never treat you like that. Or, you know, she's saying all the right things and hitting all the right notes or whatever the case may be. And I'm going to tell you, when there's no commitment to the relationship, on those days when you really hate each other, anything can happen. It's almost like just kind of open season. And so I need you to understand that commitment to the relationship, when you've had that discussion, what is commitment? What does that mean to you? You know, And so you're really focused on, right? You're not just focused on bad days or like when they piss you off. You're focused on what's good in a relationship, and you grow from there. So when you have that commitment to your relationship, you are truly rock solid team us, right? And it is about the team. Like there's nothing bigger than the team, right? So I don't care how mad I am, this team is my priority, right? This team, my family, my relationship is my priority. And so there's nothing bigger than that. Nothing's coming in between that, right? I don't care how angry I am. I don't care how upset I am, whatever the case may be. My dedication is to that rock, to my us, right? My team. And so when you understand that and you have that team us mentality, then you are ready to plan, to make a plan to create the most beautiful, amazing, breathtaking relationship the world has ever seen, right? It's only when you understand that you move as a unit, right? And that doesn't mean like you're always up under each other. We talked about all those things that really damage relationships, right? All those beliefs that really damage relationships. But when you are truly team us, you understand that you are a unit, and everything that you do is towards the growth of that unit. You have together as a team, you have a plan for moving forward. You have goals. You have, couple goals, relationship goals, the things that you're trying to accomplish, places you're trying to go, things you want to do together, and nothing is going to stop those things because those are your relationship goals. And so every day you take the time to nurture those goals, right? You take the time every day. It's kind of like, my question to people in relationships, right? Or if you've been in a relationship, my question to you is, what do you do when you get up every morning? What do you do throughout that day that lets your partner know you are the person that I chose today? You are the person that I said yes to today, and I'll say yes tomorrow. I said yesterday, yes, yes, yes. So you are the person. What do you do to nurture that, to show that, to demonstrate that? Because that is where the heart of your relationship lies. That is what determines whether your relationship lives or dies. Because I'll tell you the truth. In the coaching world is clear, and I tell all of my clients that one of the first things that I say in a client call is you need to understand that if you're not growing, you're dying. Right? It's the same thing with the grass and the flowers and anything living. If it's not growing, it's dying. So for all of us that think that relationships are stagnant and they're just like one and done, and once I got you, it's all good, you're dying. Okay, so there has to be a growth plan in place, and you both need to be on board and on the same page. Don't just get caught up in the day to day, right? We all have our day to day stuff and our shit and our issues, bills and all of that stuff, and we got to go to work and we got to come home. Somebody's got to fix dinner, bathe the kids, and whatever, and all of these things have to get done. Don't get caught up in the day to day, right? It has to happen. It is an isness in the world, right? These things have to take place. How they take place is a part of the growth plan, right? So that it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It doesn't have to be the same thing even every week, right? But there has to be a growth plan in place. And how are these things taking place so that both of us feel fulfilled and both of us feel happy and respected and appreciated in this relationship? That is a part of your growth plan. You have to be able to dream together, to move together, to think, about how you're moving forward, right? And let me just make a quick note for people who have kids, right? Who are in a relationship with children or planning to have children. This is so important that I say this to you because people really believe that kids make life a little more difficult, right? You got more things to focus on. It's more work, it costs more money, takes more time, so you're tireder, and it's just hard. You have kids and things just change. And I say to you that you need a new perspective on children in your relationship. So your commitment to your relationship, and when you add kids, I need you to understand that just increases the joy, right? It doesn't take anything away. There's enough love to go around, right? There may not be a lot of time in the world, but there's enough love to go around. So you figure out, again, as a unit, this is all a part of the commitment to the relationship. How do we make this work? How do we make this beautiful, right? Because kids don't detract from a relationship. As a matter of fact, if you believe that, you're already doomed, right? So kids bring more love. Oh my God, more fun, more joy, more happiness. But you still have to understand that you still have a commitment to each other, right? You have a commitment to your partner, to your man, to your husband, and he has a commitment to you. Even with kids, don't just be like a couple with children, right? Don't just be a couple of parents, right? Be a couple with children, right? A couple with children. Let the children pour in and add more to that. And so so now let me just talk really briefly and bring in your activity for today about how we're going to move forward in commitment. So real quick, how do you get commitment? How do you get to that place where you know you're ready for a committed relationship, or he's ready to say yes, or whatever that whole thing looks like? Let me just say, I'm gonna give you two pieces. One piece of really just kind of an FYI that people don't focus on at all. Women cheat, right? Like, we spend so much time thinking about, is he gonna cheat? Am I good enough for him? Is he gonna be a dog? Or what, are we gonna have infidelity? Is that, we spend like, I can't even tell you how many women I've talked to, like, that's the very first thing out of his mouth, out of their mouth. Like, they're so afraid to love because he's gonna cheat. Women cheat too, okay? And men know it. Like, men know that option is always on the table. And so, for most of us women, we know, like, most women that I've met, that I've worked with, that I know that in a lot of ways, cheating is not an option. Like, once you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. That's just our training. That's a lot of how we're cut out. That's not to say that it doesn't ever happen or that it can't happen, because of course it can, right? But for the most part, when we're in it, right? That's just the way it rolls, right? And so, we forget that women cheat, but men don't, right? And so the problem is that we don't use that to our advantage, right? So, you need to understand about yourself. Okay, I don't know a nice way to say this. I've been trying to think about it for a few days. I don't know a nice way to say this. You need to think about for yourself that when you're concerned about him cheating, you're looking at the relationship like an option, right? It's an option. You're on loan, right? He's on loan with an option, right? So you have to look at yourself in the same way, right? In a relationship, you have to understand, like, I'm here and I'm in it for the long haul. But, like I said to you before, anytime you feel taken for granted, you want to create that space. Space is important. It's probably one of your best friends in a relationship. Okay. And so when you learn how to understand that space and understand that men understand that women cheat and that fragile male ego can't handle that. Okay. Then you understand that that's, again, saying stuff without saying it, right? You don't ever come out and say to a man, I'll cheat on you, or I can get another man, or whatever. That's talk about something detrimental to a relationship. Okay. But so how you get that commitment is you inspire it. You really learn to inspire commitment just by virtue of being who you are, being your big, beautiful, bold self in the world. Because really what you say when you're authentic and you're beautiful, what you say is, I'm where the party is, right here. This is the party, party over here. And then you just invite them to come and play with you. It's just not like, this is your relationship. You give it to him like, this is your relationship and I'm just here to do whatever you want to do. And I'm here for you. And, you just, that I want to be your girlfriend, girl. No. You inspire commitment by being amazing and being where the party is and saying, hey, if you want to play, this is where I'm at, or this is where I'm going to be, or I'm going over here. And, if you want to play, that's where I'll be. Understand, my dear, that you are perfect the way that you are. And then you give the world the best example of how to love you, right? And so your activity is to every single day 365 days of the year, 366 days of the year on leap year. Take time for yourself. Pamper yourself, nurture yourself, feed your spirit. Do something every day for at least 10 minutes. Sis, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. Okay, for at least 10 minutes a day, do something absolutely amazing for yourself. Something that makes you feel like a princess. Something that makes you feel beautiful and look beautiful and just makes you glow and radiant or whatever. It can be a bubble bath. It can be something different every day. A glass of wine that you just sit for 10 minutes and just savor. It can be, don't let it be a lot of chocolate and ice cream. I love chocolate and ice cream. But you understand what I'm saying? Just something that makes you feel absolutely amazing. Something that lets people see, wow, she really takes care of herself. Wow, she really loves herself. You know, smiling at yourself in the mirror for 10 minutes. Just really enjoying your life. Enjoying the absolute experience of being alive for at least 10 minutes every day is game changing. Okay, so inspired that this is your commitment to yourself every day, 365 days a year for 10 minutes. Do something absolute that makes you feel absolutely amazing. And you will see how it will inspire people, just all people, not even just your man or your partner or your potential partner, right? It will let everyone see how freaking beautiful you really are. All right, and how well you deserve to be treated. So I'm going to close out there. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it's a little long, but I love you. But I wanted you to have all the information. So if you have any questions, don't forget to let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.